Long live God, long live the baby man. One time. So come to the Jenny Bumpire. So come for we are fire. I'm made here, but to you. None made here, but to you. Baby free Ghana. The man penny I would cano your friend on the Frank Numa. You mini sign up when my dear number your mama. I send back up baby na mentia. I am in one here on no neji fan who ye. Yanara assassin ye. I have what they did my Mojana Nana here Gunya to her my head room in will say a baby at once. Can I be a baby? I'm in
Hello and welcome to another edition of Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah and you're watching Diaspora Network Television. Today we're going to discuss a very important topic, something that's close to my heart about what Africa is doing for its youth. And I have the very person here, in fact the perfect person to talk about that here with me in the studio. But as usual, you're not going to meet my guest until you get to hear the jangle. So stay tuned for the jangle. In today's jangle, I want to highlight the quagmire that Africa finds itself in. We are a developing continent. Some would like to call us the third world. I don't agree that we're in the third world. We're a developing continent. But the quagmire that we find ourselves in is this. Because others are ahead of us developmentally, we find ourselves in catch-up mode. And what that has brought about is that the average African has found himself or herself in an instant gratification mode, which means I want to put in something today and get the results tomorrow. Futuristic stuff out of the window. And so you find out on the continent, governments that want to pursue policies that are futuristic, they don't last long. But governments that can come today and say, oh, you guys want this today, I'll give it to you. You want this tomorrow, I'll give it to you. Those are the governments that the people tend to like. And so you find that across the continent, Ghana being one of those countries, a government is not popular when it engages in policies for which you're not going to see the results today or tomorrow, for which you're going to see the results in the future. People want to say, well, I'm hungry now, give me something to eat now. So the question is, how do you develop when the people whose permission you need to lead them are requesting for instant gratification policies? When all of us also know that for us to really develop for the future, you need futuristic policies. That's the quagmire that Africa finds itself in. How do we break that quagmire? I don't know. But I know there are a lot of people who are smarter than I am, and I just wanted to bring this out so that we start thinking about this. How do we, is it a case of getting the people to see the future? Or is it a way, how do we do it? Smart people, let's start to think about these things so that Africa can get to where we need to be. Because this instant gratification mentality is not going to take us anywhere. We need futuristic endeavors. And the people have to be on the bandwagon with whichever government that wants to do futuristic projects and not always hound them for things that they can eat today. For today, that's the jangle. Stay tuned. We'll be right back to meet my guest.
Pop.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me speak to my people. Now, let me speak to you. I know the stress people go through when they want to send money from abroad to their family members and loved ones in Ghana and even in Africa. See, if you are in the USA, if you are in London, UK, Canada, Europe, any part of the world, see, tap send has made it very easy. All you have to do is to tap and send. Within a twinkle of an eye, your money will be sent with no stress. It's very fast, convenient, and easy to access everywhere. What are you waiting for? Just tap, and send. Download Tap Send now on Google Play and App Store. Tap Send. It's secure, convenient, easy, and fast.
Hello and welcome back. This is Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah, and I am delighted to introduce you a good friend of mine. I don't know if I can say this and get away with it, but I call him the unofficial mayor of Atlanta. Meet Isaac Essel. How are you doing, Isaac?
I'm doing great, Jermaine.
Isaac, welcome.
Nice to meet you.
Isaac is CEO of Serenity Empire, CEO of Serenity Global Investment Company, and a managing director of Adum Clinic. Isaac, yes. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Well, thanks for having me here today.
Yes.
I know it's been some time where we've been talking back and forth with me coming back to your studio and things like that.
Yeah.
But I'm actually impressed with what you've been able to put together here.
Okay.
And it's an inspiration to a lot of us.
All right.
And
I'm
actually doing fine.
You're
But thank you for what you're doing.
You're kind, thanks. And you do a lot within the business space in Atlanta. So we want to start by knowing who you are. How did you groom to become this mega investor in ATL? By the way, ATL is one of my favorite cities. I live in Houston, Texas, but ATL is ATL.
Yes, ATL is as you know, the Black Mecca.
The Black Mecca.
But about Isaac Essel. Isaac Essel started right here in Ghana. I was born to a very powerful person called Nana Bamfo Essel.
Okay.
The doctor and managing director of Adum Clinic.
Okay.
Of beloved memory.
Okay.
Now, growing up in Ghana, as you all know, when they call you Dr. Ba, everybody thinks that, everything is very good.
Yeah.
So
okay, Dr. Ba. That brings me to just a digression of a question. Doctors' kids and pastors' kids, who gets the hardest time among their friends?
I think PKs get the hardest time. I think PKs get the hardest time.
And I'm a PK, did you know that?
Oh, okay.
I'm a PK, but I've hidden that because I know a lot of people can't wait to use that against me, but I'm a PK. So you're a doctor's kid?
Yes.
Okay.
So growing up in Ghana, I was always curious.
Okay.
I'm one of those young people that is always eager to do something. So I kind of was everywhere.
Okay.
And I know from a young age that I was going to be in business.
Okay.
So that Dr. Ba, this thing was...
People expected you to also
really
be a doctor.
My thing.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, was there expectation for you to also become a doctor because...
The pressure was there.
Oh, okay.
The pressure was there, but most of the time, I really admire how my dad brought us up.
Okay.
He gave us the freedom and the opportunity to become our own person.
Okay.
And that is one of the things that I can always sit back and appreciate that he gave us that opportunity, even though the
as,
pressure was
as
there.
long as we've been friends, I haven't asked you that one question, and your answer to this question may determine whether we remain friends from here on. What school did you go to?
Well,
secondary school.
I started at practice school, where I started my pre-K.
Okay.
And stuff.
No, I'm
Then,
talking about secondary school.
secondary school, I went to Setbacks.
Oh, okay. You're okay. You're okay. We can be friends from now.
Yeah.
You didn't mention one of the. I have like 5 schools that if you went to one of them, I'll ask you to get out of my studio.
Well, as you know, at Brimpon, we don't take
You don't take what?
threats lightly. So
Oh, okay. No, I mean,
we are our own people. We are strong.
Yeah, you went to the right school. There are some schools, and I'm not going to mention them on air. They know who they are. If he had gone to any one of those schools, that would be it. But go ahead.
Yes. So growing up in Ghana, I started my first business at 16.
Wow. Doing what?
Pimpa Club.
Ah, pen pals.
Yeah, Pimpa Club. I used to be the one that everybody is writing to for Pimpa magazines and writing to people all over the world, exchanging messages, and making people happy.
These youngsters don't know about pen pals. What is a pen pal?
Well, a pen pal is someone that you come into contact with from a different location. Most of the time, different part of the world. You write a letter to them and express that you want to get into a friendship type of relationship with them. And back in the days, that was the things that all the youth, all the young people were inspiring to do. Get to know somebody. And to me today, pen pal is Facebook.
Facebook, yeah. Yeah.
But it depends on where you start.
Yeah.
Facebook, Mark got, a head start at a place where you have technology.
Yeah.
Here we used to, you remember the old, post office kind of one stamp with everything that you write the letter on and send it over. Yeah, so.
There were even letters that already, what did they call it? The airmail.
Airmail.
It will have a stamp on it. So when you buy it, you just write the letter on it, fold it, and tip, and then send.
Yes, airmail.
To be honest with you, sometimes I get angry. Do you know why?
Why?
These youngsters don't have to go through what we went through. I mean, they pick up, this thing here.
Yes.
They just go like this, and they get a girlfriend.
Yes.
Do you know what we had to do to get a girlfriend back then? I get angry. I'm sorry. But go ahead.
Well, when I remember there was like almost maybe 2 or 3 pen pal clubs in Ghana. One in Accra, one in Kumasi, and the other one, it was kind of all over the place.
Right. And so you're a Kumasi boy?
Yes.
Okay.
So I remember getting my first post office box in Edum.
Oh, wow.
As a young 16-year-old
You had
boy.
a post office box
Yes,
at
I
age
did.
16?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Okay.
And then I was using the one in Edum. Then when the first one opened in Tafo, I got one too.
Oh, wow.
So
How did
I
you
was
make
so
money
ambitious.
from that?
I
How
mean-
did you make money from that?
Well, don't tell the post office, but that time they were putting monies in the mail, and they will write to you, and every time I go to the post office, there was my cash flow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why would anybody want to pay for you to give me a pen pal? Oh, so basically,
No, I was making the magazines.
Okay.
Yeah, when I write to, there was a company in New Zealand,
Okay.
and they had a lot of magazines that had the names of people all over the world. So I'll write to them and they'll bring me one. Then I'll go to the printing press and I'll print more of it.
And you had this idea as a 16-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
How in the world did you know about the company in New Zealand at age 16 back then?
Well, that's curiosity.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
Because back then it wasn't easy to just Google and say, okay, what company has all the people? Back then you didn't have that.
yeah, back then it wasn't easy. But I went to Asante Library and I was reading a book. And I saw that there was that company in New Zealand that all they do is publish people that are looking to make friends. So I wrote to them and I requested one of their books, magazines. So this is months, I was sitting there one day and I was like, okay, is this gonna come or not? So I finally got that book. When it came in the mail, I remember I was so excited, so happy about it.
But the key thing is you saw a business potential in there at age 16.
This is the issue. When I got that book, I wanted to share.
Okay.
That is where the business idea came from. I just wanted to, it was one book. So how do I share the book with everybody?
Who are also looking
for friends.
Okay.
Because I remember when I started writing to some people in Holland and Germany and New Zealand, and they kept writing to me, and every time I go to school, my friends are asking me, they want some.
Yeah.
So I looked at it and I said, let me go to a printing press and see if they'll print me some of the copies.
Okay.
So I went to a Doom and I went to one of the printing press over there at that time, and they decided that they would print it for me.
Don't tell me it was Pioneer.
It wasn't Pioneer. Okay. Pioneer was too big to take a young guy like me on. And let me tell you what happened. I'll go there and they say, Konabra, go and come back every time. And I really wanted to get this thing printed. So I kept going. Every time they tell me go and come back, I'll come back. So one day, one of the workers over there was like, yeah, let's just do a typeset and just do it for him. Because he kept coming back.
Yeah.
So they did it. The first one that they printed for me was not good enough.
Okay.
I said, I don't want it like that. This is how I want it to be. They printed another one. I said, no. It's not to my satisfaction yet.
You had some nerve, didn't you?
Yes, I knew what I wanted.
Exactly.
So finally, they got the book together, and I gave the green light to print.
Okay.
And after giving the green light to print, they still wouldn't print it.
Oh, wow.
Just go and come back.
Okay.
So finally, to cut a long story short, we got it printed. I have these, I think I made about 20 or 30 copies.
Okay.
I brought it home and I was like, now I need a post office box.
Wow. All at age 16.
All at age 16. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, when I was 16, I think I was into cassettes.
Wow.
But that was easy. Just
Despite.
I know. You know,
Despite.
when I heard that Despite did that, I said, wow, why am I not as rich as him? Because I also did that. I'll record, that time, Jimmy Cliff. You remember Jimmy Cliff?
Yeah, I hate that.
Remember Jimmy Cliff, Cool and the Gang, you record them and stuff. That's another story. But how did you, what made you decide to travel abroad?
Well, it was through this same writing back and forth to schools and people abroad. So through that pimpa club, I get exposed to a school in Arkansas.
Okay.
and a friend of mine was, going to that school over there, and we used to write to each other.
Okay.
So I
Was he
said,
Ghanaian? Was he Ghanaian? Or
no,
American?
no,
American.
white, yeah,
Okay, so he was your pen pal.
yes.
Okay.
So I was more into like trying to get things done here in Ghana.
Okay.
So I gave that school to a friend of mine who is here to write to them. Gilbert. Gilbert wrote to them, and he got his form I-20. And when
Consul?
when the form I-20 came, acceptance, and in that time, that's what you used to go to the American embassy to get a visa. So when that form I-20 came, I was like, wow, this is actually
Pretty cool.
cool.
And you're the one who gave it to him.
Yeah. So I was like, well, I told him just like we were talking. I said, I'm going to write to them and see if they send me one. So I did. And it didn't take long. Mine came too.
I-20.
By form I-20 came. That was gold at that time. I was like, wow. So actually we are going to go to
United States.
So I'm like, wow.
Well, I'll tell you what. Back then, if you were going to the States, and what year was this, by the way?
This is 99.
99. Wow.
Yeah.
So you got the I-20 from Arkansas, the school in Arkansas?
Yeah, William
Okay.
Baptist College.
Is that where you started?
Yes.
You ended up going to school
I
there?
ended up going to school over there.
So you got into the States in 1999?
Yes.
Okay. And started in Arkansas. What's, of all places, why Arkansas?
Well, see,
I mean, that's where you're okay.
it says travel and see,
Yeah.
and all along the pimpa club was what I was trying to do when I formed the pimpa club.
Okay.
I wanted people in Ghana to also be exposed to the rest of the world,
Yeah.
meet people, and be able to communicate and see what they do, how their lifestyle is, and also we can also learn through that.
And did you find out the Ghanaians that you were selling to, did they have a preference as to which continent at the time?
Most Ghanaians were more geared to the US, Germany, and London.
Okay.
And you have a few that will be doing Holland, New Zealand, and
Okay.
other places.
Okay.
But-
So what was it like when you first landed in the United States?
Well, to be honest with you, it was a culture shock for me when I landed in the United States. And the reason being is I'm over here in Ghana. I live in my dad's house. I had my own room, and I was doing my business. I even did a Ghana contract before I left anyway. So
A Ghana contract?
Yeah, I did an African contract, like was the under 20 tournament.
Okay.
The Ghana 99 tournament.
Okay.
So when I got to the US, I'm back there with my uncle, and it's cool. I mean,
Your
this
uncle.
is
So your uncle lived there?
yeah. You know how Ghana we call everybody uncle.
Uncle, okay.
It's a extended family, but there's So I was sleeping on the floor for 7 months.
Wait. You slept on the floor
Yes.
in America?
Yes, for 7 months on the floor. Yeah.
Whoa. Time out. In America, nobody is supposed to sleep on the floor.
That's what
How are you
everybody
going to
thinks.
get a Ghanaian or any African to believe you that for 7 months you slept on the floor in America?
Well, I had the same perception when I was leaving.
Okay.
I thought America was everything.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that when you go there, you have to make it what you want it to be.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a land of opportunities, so you have to create your own opportunity.
Yeah.
Now, when I got there, the reason why it was a culture shock for me was I was, again, Dr. Ba. I had what I needed here in Ghana.
Yeah.
If there was a car, we have it. Whatever that we needed here was there. Now, waiting for everybody to go to sleep and bring your comforter and just lay it on the floor and sleep, that was where the culture shock was.
So you went, all right. So for those of us who aren't Dr. Ba, I'm a PK, you can all, yes, you also have your own room and everything. But even when I went and I had to stay with some friends, I have to admit, I never slept on the floor. But you went from, in other words, your lifestyle in Ghana at the time you left was actually better than when you got to the States.
Yes, in terms of sleeping quarters and stuff like that.
Okay.
So when immediately I was like, I have to change this. So the only way to change it is to go to school and work at the same time. And I wasn't lazy. That's the good thing, because if you see, I've been doing things here in Ghana, and I was already the working type, and had that big vision of how I want to see the future.
Okay.
So that desire to really make something out of nothing was always there.
Okay. All right. So do you think Ghanaians appreciate this enough, that America is not all rosy and that there is some serious sacrifices in there? Do you think we've told that story enough?
I think we need to really tell that story, because right now, if I wasn't telling you this, you wouldn't know.
No.
Because right now, if you come to America, I have all these places where I'm able to even have facilities where we are able to give places for seniors and other people to sleep.
Okay.
From where I am right now in America versus current, when I first went, I would have never thought I would be that successful.
But that's the key thing. You made it. Like you said, America is what you make it to be.
Yes, it's what you make it to be.
All right. And if we're not telling this story right, are we being negligent? And still having, planting it, subconsciously. We still, we have it planted in people that America, when you get there, all your problems are solved.
Well, to me, I say the youth of today have to be curious enough to ask questions. Don't ask questions that just, right now, most of the things that I want the youth to do is to ask how you started. Don't just look at the person where they are right now and then assume that, everything was all good. You find more inspiration from knowing how people got to where they are, so that you can also know that, given my circumstances right now, if I do something about it, I can be where they are now.
You've touched on a subject that's going to take a whole segment, and I promise you, we'll talk about the youth segment. Now, so when you got there, slept on the floor for 7 months, got your first degree, all this time was in Arkansas?
Back and forth, Arkansas and New York.
Arkansas and New York?
Yes.
Okay. And so when did you, and you've always had this business minded?
Yes.
So you studied, I'm sure you studied international business. Okay. Not medicine?
Well, like I said, that was something that my dad gave us the opportunity to be able to do. There was pressure on him.
But there's got to be something. There have to be
to
something. If your father was doctor and he was able to make this nice life for you guys, and as far as I'm concerned, I don't know. You've not told me anything about a family member that was also successful in business. I would have thought that, hey, my daughter, my father was a doctor. He made a good life for us. Don't reinvent the wheel. Yes, I want to be a businessman, but let me get that medicine in my pocket.
Yes.
That would have been my thinking.
Well, my dad was in a space where it was mental illness, right?
Okay.
Psychiatric.
Okay.
So growing up, I got to see how he brought people that has been, classified in Ghana like Wabodam.
Mad, right.
Yeah, mad person. And he was able to rehab them and bring them back to be productive members of society.
Unbelievable.
So going through that, I really always appreciated what he was doing.
Yeah.
But the passion for me
was different.
Different.
Yeah.
And I believe that, that's maybe the reason why I've also turned into healthcare a little bit now when it comes to the senior living facilities and things like that.
Okay, very good. And you're right in the sense that if you're going to go into business, the rule of thumb is two things. You have to be good at it or you have to love it.
Yes.
Okay? If you have the talent for it and you don't necessarily love it, yes, you can make that happen. And if you don't have the talent for it, but you have the passion for it, yes, you can succeed. But if one of those or both of those are not there, then maybe you want to look at different. And as the result is, the way you've turned out, I think you made the right choice in not pursuing that. So we're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Isaac Essel. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
What's cool, fresh and trendy with a new look? Makes you feel real good, that refreshing vibe. Satisfies you right just the way you like. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Ain't gotta do it alone. Specialized makes you flow. Anytime, anywhere. Specialized, feel different. Always think specialized. Special Ice Natural Mineral Water. Feel different. Think special. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Hello and welcome back to Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah and I'm joined by Isaac Essel.
Yes.
And Isaac, I want to, before we get to the next segment, have you heard of Tap Send?
Yes, I have, and I've used Tap Send.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Tap Send is the newest and the fastest growing money transfer, and it's owned by a Ghanaian. Can you believe that? Based in UK, you can send from multiple countries in Europe and Canada and United States to about 19 countries in Africa. Try it. And if you use DNT as your code, when you download their app, you get your first $10 free, either $10 or £5 or €5, whichever currency you want. And you get it free towards your transaction. So Tap Send. Don't forget, use that. And so back to our conversation, you shuttled between Arkansas and New York, but you eventually settled in ATL.
Yes.
Why ATL? Most in Ghana, we know about New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, and I'm going by the size. New York being the largest, Los Angeles being the second largest, Chicago being the third largest, and Houston being the fourth largest. And you skipped all this and chose Atlanta.
Yes.
Why?
Well, there was a guy that came and lived with me in New York for a while. So that was year 2000. And he moved to Atlanta. So I went to visit him for his child's baby dedication. So when I got to Georgia, I was like, wow, this looks like Ghana. And remember, I've always seen where you have your house, you come in, you park your car, and if you have a garage, nobody really knows you're home, you're there, right? So at that time, I was also thinking of starting my own family.
Yeah. And you didn't have that in New York, a garage?
No,
What's that?
In New York, you live in this high, youngest New York,
Oh,
Kobramenu and
No,
all
forget
those,
it,
yeah.
forget it.
So you go out and you come back and you always, before you enter the apartment, there's so many people walking around and stuff. So when I went to Atlanta, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Looking for a house to buy here is actually cool. So back to how, you see yourself, So I was like, let me move to Atlanta. But guess what? It's not easy to move out of New York. It took me 5 years.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, so, you've hit a nerve with what you just said. Because I had a friend of mine, also in New Jersey and New York, pretty much the same thing. And his wife wanted them to move to the South, Houston. Well, he told me Houston. And every time I'll tell him, he said, hey, you need to come. He said, yeah, and it took him a long time until he also made the first trip to Houston, and he saw the same thing you did.
Yes.
To have your house, your garage, and your driveway and everything blew his mind.
Yes.
And then what even did the thing to him is there was this new place that they were building. We went there to look at the houses. And then he asked, so how much is this? And the salesperson said, $125,000. And my friend is like, no, I mean the whole house.
That's true.
Yeah. For the whole house to cost $125,000. Long story short, a month later, he lives in Houston now. I mean, that's how, and you're telling me it's pretty much the same effect that Atlanta had on you.
So, coming to Atlanta was something that finally I've seen what I want.
Yeah. How to disject yourself.
Yes, because as much as I love the way the place look, how everything is, it was still too quiet for me in the 2000s. I mean, that time, New York, there was a lot of, get-togethers and...
so that's it. Yeah. You had to give up something.
I had to. I mean, if you want something good in life, you have to give up something.
Do you think we have that? Do you think that sacrifice thing, we have enough of that? It seems like these days, a generation, nobody wants to sacrifice for anything. But you had to give up the parties and the action-orientedness of New York for a quieter place.
Yes. And when you have to give up something, it's always for the better.
Okay.
I mean, when you're comfortable in your own space, sometimes you can overlook the possibilities that's out there for you.
Okay.
So, to me, giving up the New York lifestyle meant another challenge for me.
Okay.
And that challenge was to be better than what I was at that time.
Okay.
And to be better than the person I was, or I am today, means I have to sacrifice something.
Yeah. And so it wasn't a corporate calculation, like you were tied to any type of job or anything at that time?
Everything I was doing, thinking back, has been always intentional.
Okay.
Because living in New York, I was working for Sony Corporation of America. So that's a big company. I mean, not that many people get the chance to work for Sony Corporation of America.
Sony,
yes.
Movies and technology?
Yes. They're into so many things. If I tell you what Sony is into, you won't believe it. It's quite broad. So going to Atlanta was something that it was more of how I wanted my first kid to be brought up.
Okay.
you know. So it was more like I've just gotten married. We have a baby girl,
You
Brittany.
married in New York?
Yes.
Had a baby in New Okay.
I actually married someone from Ghana who I love so much. When I was in New York, I had opportunities to be able to marry somebody else, but I was always into family. I wanted somebody that was family oriented, someone that can keep a family together. And my wife, Henrietta Essel, is the gold standard. I mean, it was like there was opportunities to change my mind, but yeah, I knew her for about 6 months before I left.
Okay.
But during that 6 months, she made enough impact on me that I was
still married to her today?
Yes.
Henrietta, I don't know how you did it, but to be a gold standard in 6 months, that says something.
Yes. So it's also have to do with what you want as a person.
Yeah.
You know, and how you see yourself.
But moving from New York to Atlanta, did you have to give up the job at Sony?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Like I said, always you have to sacrifice something.
Yeah.
So I put in my 2 weeks notice, and I'm moving to Atlanta. Now, before then, I went to, it says travel and see. So before that, I went with my wife on a vacation, Labor Day weekend.
Okay.
So we went to Atlanta with Brittany, and Brittany was, I believe, 3 months at that time.
Yeah.
You know, so that is 2005.
Okay.
So we went there, and she's also excited about Atlanta.
Oh, that's it.
You know,
Brittany
so,
makes a decision.
so
if Brittany makes a decision, in fact, come to think about it, if it came down to Brittany says yes, Henrietta said no, who would have won?
Well,
I'm putting you on the spot.
that is a question that I have to really answer at another time.
So you're chickening out?
No, I'm not, because look, Henrietta is the nurse. She's the family. She is the one that, like the couple that brought all of us together.
But I'm putting you on the spot between Henrietta and Brittany.
I love them. I love them to death. So
you love them both.
Yes.
So if they were on both sides of Atlanta, who would have won?
So I believe that as parents, right, when we are making decisions, we have to look into what's better for the whole family.
That's right.
So at that time, Brittany wasn't grown enough to make a decision. So
Henrietta would have won.
Definitely.
Okay. So now we've got the answer.
Definitely, yeah.
Okay. But when you were moving from New York,
yes,
when you put in the 2-week notice, did you have a professional opportunity waiting for you in Atlanta?
No.
That was a sacrifice.
No, and I had also making some huge commitments.
Okay.
By getting my first house built in Atlanta.
Okay.
Right? So that commitment was huge. Okay. So I had to start looking for jobs in Atlanta.
Okay.
And I didn't want to work for a temp agency. I wanted to work for a direct company. You know, so I started writing to Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, and big companies like that.
Okay.
Now, when I say started writing to, it's just like filling applications and things like that, putting your CVs out there for people to see what you can do. So I got an opportunity from PepsiCo.
Yeah.
And PepsiCo, they gave me that opportunity. Yeah. But before I got that job, we moved in December of 2005. Okay. And I got the job in February of 2006.
That's interesting. Yeah. First, you're saying CV instead of resume.
Because I still have the Ghana in me. And I'm proud of Ghana.
Good. And the thing that's strange about what you said is, you had to move from New York
Yes.
to come to Atlanta to get a job with Pepsi,
Yes.
whose headquarters is in New York.
Yes.
On that note, on that note, we'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll delve into business, and now we'll get into African unity and the youth. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss this.
Tap, tap, and send. It's okay. Bro, let me speak to my people. Now, let me speak to you. I know the stress people go through when they want to send money from abroad to their family members and loved ones in Ghana and even in Africa. See, if you are in the USA, if you are in London, UK, Canada, Europe, any part of the world, see, Tap Send has made it very easy. All you have to do is to tap and send. Within a twinkle of an eye, your money will be sent with no stress. It's very fast, convenient, and easy to access everywhere. What are you waiting for? Just tap, and send. Download Tap Send now on Google Play and App Store. Tap Send. It's secure, convenient, easy, and fast.
Hello and welcome back. This is Diaspora Weekly. My name is Jermaine Nkrumah, and you're watching Diaspora Network Television. And my friend Isaac Essel has been giving us some interesting perspectives on who wins if your wife, whom you love, and your daughter, whom you love, are on opposite sides of a choice. Where do you go? You were lucky Brittany was young. You would have been in some. Anyway, let's get into, so you're in Atlanta and you've decided, you started working. At what point did you branch off from Pepsi to get into business?
Well, I left Pepsi in 2008 when the world, the market, crashed and everything. So I was there one day, and Pepsi said they're laying off 3,300 employees worldwide.
Wow.
Meaning everybody that was 3 years and under was going to be cut off.
Wow.
And the reason being is Pepsi used to do a profit sharing kind of after 3 years and 1 day. So shareholders needed their money.
Yeah.
So they had to cut some people off.
Yeah.
Now, in business, I know that is a very painful decision to make. And I believe Pepsi didn't take that decision lightly. So the promise was, if you're laid off and the economy gets back good enough, they will call you back and re-employ you. Mm-hmm. So I received my pink letter just like everybody else.
Wow.
So
did the pink slip come with any package?
No. Wow. Because remember, the shareholders were looking for their part and the market was crashing. And they didn't have enough money to send around. So you were just promised that if the market comes back and they have to re-employ, you guys were going to be first in line to be re-employed. They gave us health insurance for a few months,
Wow.
And that was it.
Wow.
And
so that pushed you into business.
Basically, that pushed me into working for another big company.
Okay.
Because what these companies do is they look for talent. Okay. So we received this pink letter on Friday. On Sunday, I'm sitting at the dinner table talking to my wife, and we're not sure what's going to happen. I have, my mother-in-law with us now.
Oh, wow.
And I have my kids, Brittany and Jesslyn at that time. And I'm like, oh. So this is, and I had, my wife was pregnant with Crystal. So it was
A
like,
third one.
yeah, I was like, we had to do something.
How do you receive a pink slip with 2 children? You said Brittany
One-
and who else?
Brittany and Jesslyn,
Uh-huh.
and then one
A
on the
third
way.
one away.
So,
And mother-in-law living with you.
yes.
And you're still alive to talk about it.
Yes, I'm still alive to talk about it. So I went back to the drawing board, and I'm like, this is not going to be there, and I have to do something because all these people depends on me, and we have to make something work. So that same Sunday that we were talking at the dinner table, I filled an application at Nestle Purina. And Monday morning, I got a phone call.
Wow.
I mean,
Wow.
it was like
Wow.
unbelievable. I mean, thoughts. I mean, when you're thinking about something always comes
You must
true.
have done the application online then.
Online.
Okay.
I mean, I sent my resume in, and
And you got a call back on Monday.
Monday morning, 8:15 in the morning.
There's a God somewhere looking
my
over you, I can tell you
my phone rang, and they were like, we would like to set up a phone interview with you on Tuesday. Wow. And I said, yes. So I didn't know where my wife was, but I was calling her and letting her know that, hey, we got something.
That's why you're alive to talk about it.
But
at this point, I want to shift on this third segment. I want to shift to African unity. I know it's a very drastic shift, but everybody believes Africa, we need to unite to move forward. How do you see that going?
Well, I believe that too. I believe that because I've worked in the corporate America system for quite some time.
Okay.
And that is in terms of the business side. And I believe that once you're united, you can do so many things. And I'll take, for example, my own family, for instance. We are one together in everything that we do.
Okay.
Now, the reason why you see me having a diaspora pin on me is because I have the mindset that we as diasporans have a role to play in bringing all our people together. Because now we have the opportunity to know what's outside. The human intelligence that we've seen, the things that I've gone through, the big companies that I've worked for, if I cannot bring those set of ideas here, the things I've managed, if I can bring those set of ideas here and help my people grow, and then I'll be failing them. So that's why I've shifted a lot of my decision makings and things to try to bring people together in Atlanta for us to do our part and also link the continent together. So the year of return inspired me a lot. I mean, and that was the initiative of our president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And when, as a young person, and the passion to bring people together, being there, I saw that was the best opportunity for us to, capitalize on it and bring people together in our continent.
Let me ask you, in Houston, there's what we call Ghanaian party, Nigerian party, Senegalese party. Do you have the same type of thing in Atlanta?
Yes, it's
Okay.
quite big.
Okay. Is there that one event where all the nations are under one table? We did have that in Houston at some point. At the turn of the century, we had African Community Organization, ACO. And the first time we did an event where Tanzanians, South Africans, Sierra Leoneans, Liberians, all under one roof, and we all partied together. People were like, it was like heaven. And then we've gone back to this thing. But let a war happen in Ukraine, and let some African students get stuck in Sumi. All of a sudden, the borders have disappeared.
Yes.
Now we see ourselves as, oh, African students, we need to get out of. Why don't we see ourselves at one until something like Sumi in Ukraine happens?
Well, what's going on in Ukraine right now, it's something that it's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Everybody, it's heartbreaking. But we have had that going on the continent for quite some time.
Yeah.
And as we speak, I believe that the platform that we have now is to use it to educate people and create more awareness and let people know that it's important for us to come together as one. You know, as a diasporan, I've seen the importance of that firsthand because I believe that we have so much to give when it comes to our continent. When I come back and I walk around and I drive around, sometimes I feel like there's a lot to be done here.
Yeah.
Now, the biggest challenge for me that I've seen that we can still overcome it is when you're giving feedback to the people here, it's not easily embraced. You know, it's like they have their own way of doing things, and this is how, you know, if you're telling them, it's like you know too much.
Yeah.
So once we can break that cycle of you know too much and let each other realize that it is for the good of all of us to really come together to build our continent, then we can erase these borders that's around.
Yeah.
Because I heard an interview of somebody from Sri Lanka coming to Ghana, but he had to go to Dubai before he comes to Ghana, like almost 24 hours.
Yeah.
That is not right.
Yeah.
We should be able to travel across our continent
Yeah.
and then exchange ideas, build, you know, innovations with each other easily.
Yeah. You know, when Dr. Arikana Chimbori-Kwao brought a delegation late last year, and the delegation included several nationals of several African countries. And for the first time, I saw a guy from Uganda who's looking forward to coming to set up a business in Ghana. I saw a Nigerian setting up business in Ghana is nothing new. But for the first time, I saw those other Africans looking forward to setting up business in Ghana from the diaspora. My question to you is, do you see, or shall I say, when do you think we will see a situation where the Ghanaian in the diaspora has a business idea and say, no, this business idea, I think it will work best in Kenya, so I'm going to Kenya to go and invest. Right now, a Ghanaian diaspora invests in Ghana, a Nigerian diaspora invests in Nigeria, and it goes with all the other countries. Do you think we'll ever see that time, your lifetime and mine, where the Ghanaian or the Senegalese in the diaspora say, no, this business, I'm taking it to DRC?
I believe this is the time. We can't waste time no more. Setting up a business means you have to do some homework.
Yeah.
And as a business person, what you do is you have to research the market where the business will be more effective.
Okay.
Because setting up a business means you have to be solving problems for somebody.
Absolutely.
So the idea of setting up a business is actually something that we as Africans and we as diasporans have to kind of teach ourselves. If, like, I'm into senior care, for instance, the stigma here for senior care living is different.
Yeah.
So if Kenya or Ethiopia or South Africa have a different, perception when it comes to senior care, then as a business guy, I have to make the strategic decision where I place that business.
Yeah.
Then where the awareness and education is not there currently, we can't wait till we catch up before we do it. We have to start the education and the awareness now.
Okay.
So to me, if you're a business person out there and you want to set up a business, my advice is do your market research. Find where your business will thrive, where it's good to start that business.
Okay.
Then once you get it started somewhere, you can always duplicate it anywhere.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So you mentioned that when you come back and you're trying to do something, there's always this pushback. They say you know too much. In Ghana terms, we call it too known. Is that what you were referring to?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when we have an adage, we say when two elephants are fighting, who suffers? The grass.
Yes.
As we diasporans try to come in, and those we meet in Ghana say, oh, you're too known this, and we button heads. Guess who's suffering? The youth. The youth. The youth in this case is the grass, with two elephants fighting. Do you think these two elephants think enough about the youth?
Well, in our own way, right? We think about the youth, but we are not doing enough for the youth.
Okay.
Now, not doing enough for the youth is something that we have to shift how we relate our messages to them. Now, I want to inspire the youth to be able to do something on their own. Just like how I had an idea, let me start a pimpa club. I kept, getting no when I go to the printing press, but I kept pushing on to try to get it done. Getting a Ghana contract from the GFA wasn't an easy thing. I was then 20 years old at that time, and a huge tournament coming to Africa, and I want to design the shirts for it. It wasn't easy, but I pushed on. So the youth of today have to understand that don't wait for something to come to you before you get it. Always look up to something. Now, if you have someone that inspires you enough, like I said, go and ask them how they began, how they started. If you're waiting for, something to come to you before you start, it's gonna take a while.
So you want the youth to be ingenious?
Yes, I want them to be curious. I want them to ask questions. I want them to never give up. I want them to always believe in themselves, have self-confidence. Look up. Don't look down on yourself.
The youth, and I'll play the devil's advocate here. The youth of today, if I'm listening to this interview, I'll say, you didn't have a problem. Your father was a doctor. You had cars. You had so you had time to think of being persistent, being ingenious and everything. Me, I'm worried about what I'll eat today. What mind do I have to think about creative stuff?
Creativity is also a passion.
Okay.
Right? Now, when you believe in something, you always, go for their best. Now, my dad being a doctor did not give me just the opportunity to be able to succeed.
Yeah.
It gave me an exposure to see certain things and to see it in a different context.
Yeah.
Now, if you're saying that you don't have the same opportunities, what I'm telling you today is I had those opportunities, but the desire in me was to succeed. One goal, make it simple. When I was in the US, remember at that young age, that time there was DMS, Jada Kids, Gangster Styles, all those people, the drugs and stuff like that going on. But my goal was to succeed. My goal was not to join the street. a lot of Dr. Bar and lawyers money, those kind of things. They were partying around, but I didn't do that. I stayed focused. So if you don't have that opportunity today, it doesn't mean you might not have it tomorrow. Because there's one thing that we all have in common. It's time. Yeah. I have 24 hours and you have 24 hours. You don't have more than me. So it's what you do with the time today, that's what determines what tomorrow is going to be.
You know what? Spoken like a real go-getter.
Yes.
And what I would say is this. There were several other Dr. Bass who had it so good, but did not start their business at 16.
Yes.
There are several other Dada Bass who had it so good, but didn't think that they had the need to do anything because everything was there for them.
Yes.
And we all also grew up with this knowledge that necessity is the mother of what? Invention. If there is that need, if you're hungry now, and I think this should be the message now, because people do always cite the excuse that, look, I'm hungry now and everything I have to eat, I have to do. Look at it from this perspective that the situation you're in is actually the more reason why you should think about creative stuff to eliminate those types of situations. And so if there is a takeaway from this, I would say this, that necessity is the mother of invention.
Yes.
Which means that your problems now should be the catalyst that propels you into ingenious stage where you're actually creatively coming up with innovative solutions. And so I want to thank you for being an inspiration. And if you watch this, his story should be an inspiration. It's not your typical, from rags to riches type of story. But what I was impressed about your story is that at age 16,
yes,
16, you're thinking of this, not just buying and sell, but in an ingenious business of writing to a company in New Zealand, getting this, and seeing the vision that if I do this, people are going to pay for it.
And sharing it.
And they share it. You knew that people wanted pen pal connection.
Yes.
And you knew that, and what is business? Solving the problems of people. So there you have it. So the youth of today, please, don't just get swallowed in your current state. Start thinking about a way out of that stage. And it took my friend Isaac Essel to come all the way from Atlanta to the studios of DNT to give us this message. So for today, this is Diaspora Weekly, and I thank you for watching, and I thank you for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
Long live God Almighty. Long live the baby mine. One time. So come go to Jenny Mumpire. So come for we are fire. Oh my dear, but to you. Nana, my dear, but to you. Baby free Ghana. Me man penny a wodi kanu your friend on the Frank Numa. Me mini sign up when my dear number your mama. I send back up baby na me tia. Eya me wangwa. Here on no neje fan hu die. Get na raya sasin ye. Eya body de my ye. Moja na no here gunya de to ha my ye. Edru me ne wo go say ye be ye bi atwa so tie. Get na de be